Italian Wine Podcast. Cin Cin with Italian wine people.
Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com. Now, back to the show.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast. My name is Monty Waldin. My guest today is Valentina Cubi, who has an organic estate winery in Fumane in the province of Verona in the Valpolicella region in the Veneto in northeast Italy. Welcome, Valentina.
I thank you. My winery is located in Veneto, northern Italy, northwest of Verona, in the heart of the classic Valpolicella, an area dedicated to the production of great wine.
So when did you start working with the family winery?
My husband decided to buy this property in 1970, and he comes from a family that had a winery in many years ago, many centuries ago. He wanted to repeat what he used to do with his father. So he had the opportunity to buy the first part of the actual property he bought. There was a small winery and some hectares of vines. And then we bought some other vines. But when my husband bought this property, I was teacher at primary school with 2 children, very small, and so I didn't want to take care of the winery. I started later when I got retired. I started before trying to learn how to grow the vines. And I wanted to use less chemical products and to move to organic production.
So that was quite unusual in those times that you wanted to go organic, because it wasn't very well known at that stage, was it?
But, I think that apart from the products that we have from the agriculture, but every day we use water. And if what you use in agriculture goes in the water that we use every day. And so I wanted to try to respect a little bit the underground, and so work in this way.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about where the vineyards are exactly. Whereabouts in the Veneto are they?
The vines are on the hill close to Verona. Is not very high position, around 300 meters above the sea. In a very beautiful position, sunny and windy also, so the grapes don't suffer a lot for the humidity. Our vines are quite old. The youngest are 25 years old. The oldest were planted in 1974.
Are some of your vineyards on terraces?
Yes, some, yes. Some are on the top of the hill, so we don't need to have a lot of terraces because it's quite flat.
So in terms of the local microclimate, what kind of influences do you get regarding wind? Is there a lake nearby that provides cool winds or anything like that?
We have the typical vines of this area, so Corvina, Corvinone, Rondinella, Molinara. Few vines of Cabernet Sauvignon and Sangiovese. We use these grapes to produce IGT. Is QB. Like my name, the name of the wine is like my surname, but we don't produce every year this wine. But it's so small, the quantity of it is foreign grapes that is not very important. It's only for this wine. And we produce the typical wines of this area, Valpolicella Classico Superiore, Ripasso, Amarone, Recioto, and a natural wine is a Corvina Rondinella, typical blend of Valpolicella, not certified as Valpolicella, that we produce only when the grapes are perfect. Is a wine made with the grapes crushed and fermented with the own yeast of the grapes. We don't add yeast, we don't add sulfites. It's a very interesting wine.
Okay, so tell us about the. Okay, can you tell us about the Valpolicella DOC Iberico?
Yes, is the Valpolicella Classico. The name comes from some plant that you can find, some herbs actually, that you can find everywhere in this area. And then we have il Tabarro, that is the Valpolicella Classico Superiore, and the name is the overcoat of old farmers, something very thick that they used to wear in winter. Then there is Arusnatico, Ripasso. The name came from Arusnati, people that lived in this area at the Romans' time. They were strong, proud, never submitted my Romans, so the right name for Ripasso. Amarone is called Morar. Morar is the local name of mulberry tree. Mulberry tree, because there were a lot of these trees in the past. They were at the beginning and at the end of the road, the vines. And the women used to feed the silkworm with the leaves of this tree. So it's something typical of this area. And then there is Melilotto, is the sweet wine. Melilotto is a herb, and the name remember miele, honey, and so is the right name for a sweet wine.
So that's Recioto, yeah?
Yes. The natural wine is sincero, means clean.
And how often do you make the Sincero?
We make the sincero only when the grapes are completely healthy. So, for example, in 2020 we had a little bit of ale, and so we decided to not use the grapes to make this wine. We hope this year, and the fermentation is spontaneous, and so is a special wine because it represented the grapes of this area.
So you've been organic for quite a long time, and you also use some biodynamic practices. Why did you choose organic and biodynamic?
We started in 2007. We started in a small vineyard that we have close to Verona, 3 hectares of vines, because we wanted to experiment a little bit what means working organic way, what are the problems, what sort of products you have. And in 2010, we had the first grapes certified organic. We produced the first Valpolicella, the first Amarone organic. We loved this product, and we decided to work in all the state in this way. And then we changed a little bit in biodynamic way, but the certificate is only organic. I believe in this. I think that the idea to have the vines that grow in a soil rich because we work in this way, in a natural way, to have a soil. The vines, after they are more able to fight some diseases, for example, and we preserve the nature also.
So you have you're very proud of your single vineyard wines or your single vineyards. Can you just tell us a little bit about the terroir of your vineyards that have a name? Like you have a vineyard called Casterna Vineyard. Tell us about that.
Casterna is the village. We are in Fumane, but not in the center of the village of Fumane. In Casterna, that is a small village close to Fumane. Is 1 kilometer far Fumane, but not in the center of the Fumane village. We have some vineyards. One is Monte Tenda. Monte Tenda is a beautiful place. Is the top of the hill. From there, you see also the Lake of Garda. It's very windy, very sunny. There is a whole building that we are rebuilding now, and it's a beautiful place. And the vines in this vineyard, we have the oldest vines. They are 5.5 meters far from one to the other one. The row is pergola. The way that we grow this is the old way to trail the vines. And then we have Monte Cruseta, that is a little bit higher. Monte Rasso, the name of a vineyard.
And is that what kind of soil type has Monte Crosetta got, the vineyard?
In Monte Crosetta, we have all pergola, and we grow all the vines for the Amarone, Corvina, Corvinone, and Rondinella. And also a little bit of Molinara, because we are still working with these grapes.
And that's on limestone, isn't it? The soil? Is it quite rocky?
The soil is calcareous. You know, we have two vineyards, one close to Verona and one close to the cellar, that are made with a lot of stones, but it is a soil that is born more from the sediment of the rivers. Adige close to Verona, and a small river that is here in Fumane. And the other one instead are more calcareous and so more useful to maintain the humidity and to have better grapes.
Just going back to the idea of the pergola, some people think it's very old-fashioned and gives not great quality wine. Why do you think the pergola is still a good way of growing grapes in your region?
Actually, we have not only pergola but also guyot system. You know, pergola is the typical way to grow the vines in the past and also now. You know, when is summer, July, for example, it's time to take away a little bit of leaves from the vines because they have too much leaves. You can't reach with the treatment the branches, and so you take away the leaves. But what happens? That the sun can burn the grapes, and so the grapes became dry. With pergola, it doesn't happen because the branches are protected from the leaves. And I think it's possible to control the production of the grapes, to have a good pergola if you want. So we had also some guyot because it was fashion, you know, it was the new way to grow the wines. But my idea is that is better pergola. But you know, I'm not so expert. It is only my idea.
But I mean, what's the difference in the cost of managing a pergola vineyard and a normal, in virgolette, vineyard? Is it much more expensive with pergola?
Yes, no, it's much expensive guyot because you have to spend more time to work around the vines in this way. But you know, sometimes you don't take a lot of care when you want to produce a good wine. Okay, it's important that the cost of growing the grapes, but it's more important to have good grapes. And so you try to work in the way that for you is the best.
Do you ever get younger wine growers who see what you do and say, hang on, actually, even though this is an old system, the pergola, actually with climate change, maybe it's actually the better choice than spalliera? Do people come and speak to you about that?
I think so, because with pergola, the grapes are more protected.
From hail, yeah? Grandine, yeah.
Yes, also from the hail, from the sun, because sometimes the sun is quite heavy for the grapes in a special time when the grapes are growing and becoming bigger, the berries.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the wines that you make, and also, if you can, some of your favorite foods with your wines.
I love the Valpolicella because is okay. I love also Amarone. Amarone is very important. It's very rich, but the Valpolicella is the easier wine that we produce, and it matches with everything. Is also a summer wine that you can drink a little bit cold, 15, 16 degrees, for example. Is good with meat, is good with fish, is good with pasta, and is not too much high, the alcohol. I love this wine.
And what about the ageability of these wines? If they're getting a little bit of sun and a little bit of shade, you must get good numbers, like in terms of acidity and alcohol. You don't have these very high alcohol wines, yeah, and you have nice acidity too.
I think the acidity is typical of the wine made with the grapes of Valpolicella. This is my idea. Okay, all the alcohol, you know that the Valpolicella grapes don't produce a very alcoholic wine. They produce fresh fruity wine. If you want to have a more alcoholic wine, you must dry the grapes. You make Amarone, or you make the second fermentation of Valpolicella on the Amarone pomans, and you have a ripasso.
Tell me a little bit about the recioto, melilito.
Melilotto. Recioto is a typical wine. Is the wine with a capital letter for all the people of this area, because it is the first important wine born in Valpolicella area. We make the recioto with the same grapes that we use for the Amarone. We dry the grapes minimum 1 month more than the grapes for the Amarone. So we have a lot of sugar, and during the fermentation, a lot of alcohol, a lot of sugar, the yeast stop working and the wine remains sweet. And we cool a little bit the tank also at the end of the fermentation to make the yeast stop working. So it's a wine that we are not able to produce every year, because sometimes the fermentation goes on, you have Amarone. But when we are able to have a recioto, it's very good because it's sweet, but not too much sweet. So it's very good with blue cheese, with chocolate, with also alone at the end of the meal.
Just tell us a little bit more about the Sincero.
Sincero is a challenge. All the wines are a challenge, but the Sincero particularly. Sincero is made with these grapes. We are not able to cool the tank during the fermentation, because we produce a small quantity of this wine. Without sulfites added, we are worried to not be able to that this wine can last in the time. So we make a small production to sell in maximum 2 years. It represents the typicity of the grape of this area. People love very much this wine.
How much do you produce each year though of that? Is it quite small production, Sincero?
Oh, you make now that we produce a lot of Sincero is around 3,000 bottles. But we started with 1,000 bottles, 900 bottles some years at the beginning, because we wanted to introduce this wine and to check what people think about this. And then we see that they love this, and so we make a little bit more, but not too much. We know we produce a few bottles in total. We arrive at 40,000 bottles per year. And so Sincero is one of these wines. It doesn't matter if it's not a big production.
But does it help the fact that you've got these pergola vines, which are shading a little bit the grapes, that when you're making a no added sulfite wine, you've got a juice that has good acid strength or good pH, means that it's more naturally able to resist oxidation?
We choose the best grapes to be sure to have a good fermentation. So to have at the end a good wine without a problem. And then we try to have to clean everything, to have a very, very clean bottle, very clean tanks, what to use to avoid any sort of pollution. But in the bottle, the wine seems better one day after you have opened the bottle than when you open immediately. And so it's a strange wine. It works to taste.
What do you eat it with then? What's a good dish with the Sincero?
You can eat pasta, you can eat white meat, like Valpolicella. The alcohol arrives at 12.5%, so it's not very alcoholic, it's not very strong.
Final question. How did you meet your husband? The love story, go on. How did you meet him?
It's very, last week we celebrated 55 years of my wedding, and my husband is 2 years older than me. We should have been at school together, but instead he was sent to a boarding school. And so I remember that, when I went to school, they used every morning to call the name of students to see what was present and what not. I remember that he wasn't at school, and then they said he doesn't come. He goes to boarding school, so I didn't meet. After 3-4 years, we celebrated a day for all the students of the school, and I have a picture with him close to me, but I didn't know who he was. After the song, I was already a teacher. He was a winemaker. We went to a dancing afternoon. We met there, and then we started together.
Who was the better dancer, him or you?
I don't know.
They're very. That's the secret of a good marriage, isn't it? It's being very diplomatic.
It's difficult to say. We were very poor when we started, so very young. My husband was started making winemaker, but selling equipment for the winery because he worked for 2-3 years in a winery, but then he started selling some equipment for the wineries, and we were at the beginning of our life when we got married, so we had to work a lot, but we wanted to arrive to have something. Our idea were the same, and so we worked together. We were very close, and we arrived until now with some time not very beautiful, not always simple the living together, but okay, we are still together.
Excellent. Okay, Valentina, I just want to say thanks very much to you for speaking to us today, telling us all about your wonderful wines and your love of pergola and the common sense option that you think it is, and also just for telling us a little about your family relationship. It seems like you're a very good team, and we wish you continued success together. Take care.
I thank you.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, Cin Cin.